Hello, I'm Coach Zack Rodriguez. I'm the owner and founder of the Texas Dynasty Basketball Club that's been serving the North Dallas area for over a decade now. All right, so Zack Rodriguez, man, I was raised in Ennis, Texas, where I spent my entire childhood and teenage years growing up. Was raised pretty much just by my mom and my grandpa. Went to Ennis High School, played 4 years basketball there, then went to go play at a Division III school, did really well, transferred to a Division II school. Then after that, I went to go play professional basketball for about 4 to 5 years in Mexico, and then realized that my true calling wasn't to play basketball, but my true calling was to coach basketball and inspire the youth in ways that I wanted to be inspired as a kid growing up. So I pretty much founded Dynasty out of just straight passion and the love of the game, and God opening and closing the right doors for me to get to where I'm at with the Texas Dynasty. Growing up was rough. It was pretty much me and my mom and my sister from the age of 12 on, just kind of us. And then, we moved. I remember in the first 5 years after that, when I was turning 12, we moved like 10 times within the span of 5 years. It was crazy, but hard work by my mom and all that stuff like that. Motivation kind of kept us going as a family. Basketball and her kind of kept me out of what could have been a bad path for myself. So basketball saved my life, and basketball is continuing to save my life, and I'm able to inspire other lives with this game and also raise my daughter and my family, Chapel, through basketball. So pretty much basketball is more than a game to me, even though it is just a game. Okay, so Dynasty, how it became where we're at now. Right now we're running over 25 plus teams from the 17U level all the way down to the kindergarten level, multiple teams per grade. We have 10 coaches, including myself. We play all across the nation. That didn't start overnight. Dynasty started, I used to work for this guy named Stephen Lee. Shout out Steve, man. That's my guy, it's my mentor in life. He showed me not only the most important thing, the way to God, but then he also showed me what I could be doing instead of playing basketball, because this was like my true calling that God led me to. So I pretty much, I guess you would say, interned under him for about 3 years while I was still playing pro basketball, and I was coming back here and I was training with him. And then what happened was he started to plant these churches across America. So he was leaving, and his last year here, he showed me how to operate kind of like the back end parts, the admin part of Dynasty, and how to move in a crowd and carry myself. So he always jokes, and he'll text me and he'll call me Jigga, because Jay-Z, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm still learning from Jigga. So I learned a lot from him, and in the first year of Dynasty, I was just a couple of teams I had 2 teams, and it was just kids that I trained with some friends. After the first year, parents kind of seeing me coach, I grew from 2 to 7 teams, and the next season went from 7 to 12, and then 12 on up. And then now, we've reached, I think before the pandemic, we were actually up at like 35 teams. Right now, I think we're up at 29 teams. So Dynasty wasn't an overnight success. It was just my raw passion. And I never sought out to have a basketball program. I just sought out to coach basketball. And I think just parents just saw my natural love for the game and my love for kids, probably most importantly. And that's kind of where it's got to where it's at now. Now, we have a team that's top 10 in the state of Texas. We have a 12U team that's top in the state of Texas. We have a lot of teams that are now known nationally and statewide, not only just a sportsplex, developmental basketball program. So it's been very cool to kind of watch how we have grown, but at the same time, still stick to our roots and our foundation of what Dynasty is. I can go coach a 17U game against the number 20 team in the nation, the top team. We're the top team in the state of Texas. And then the next hour, I'll be at the Sportsplex coaching my kindergartners with my man Benny the Butcher. So I love to always come back here because this is where we started from the ground up. So I like to always have that strong foundation. So I love to always coach my little guys because I want to continue to grow Dynasty to be a true dynasty and bigger than any basketball program and better than any basketball program, not in Dallas, not in Texas, but just in America. I want to be that big and inspire that many people. Okay, what sets me apart and considered a great coach? It has nothing to do with the X's and O's. I study basketball a lot. I still go home to this day and I watch game film, not just of my teams, but college teams, women's basketball, Sportsplex teams, other teams, players, other coaches. I study basketball so much because I still think there's so much for me to learn. Have I gotten better? Yes, I think I've gotten better only because of my work ethic. But what sets me apart, and I guess what people consider me as a great coach or a good coach, is I think it's just my energy. It's my passion and it's my love for the game. I always just tell my kids from kindergarten up to 17Us, like, we got to control the 3 E's, is energy, effort, and enthusiasm. And if you have those 3 things, energy, effort, and enthusiasm, in whatever you do, you're bound to be successful. So I think my growing up the way I grew up, having to like fight for every day, make sure we got food and make sure life was good, and my upbringing, I take that to the court and on the sidelines with me because to me, if I don't do a good job coaching this game, then I might not have a job next week, which means I got to go back to living in my car. And that's what a lot of people don't know. I was, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I was still sleeping in my car from day to day or breaking in the gym. So I think it's just my raw passion that separates me from other coaches. It's, I get, man, do you ever get tired? It's like, no, I don't get tired. I can't afford to get tired. So I think it has nothing to do with my X's and O's. Anybody can be smart and have a high IQ if you just work at it. A lot of mine, it's that crazy Coach Zack that's running up and down the sidelines, but it's just my passion and true love for the game, because I'd act like that even if there's nobody watching the games, when there's just us, and that's just how I am. It's how I live my life. Probably one reason why when I go play with my daughter, all the little kids follow me around to come play, because it's just the crazy energy that I have. So I literally try to coach as it's my last game that I could coach. If not, I have to go back to living in my car. But if I do a good job, I get to go home and sleep in the house. So just, man, passion, man, energy, effort, enthusiasm, and having passion in whatever you do. I don't care what you're doing in life. That's what's going to make you great. The rest will come. You can study and get better on all that other stuff, but if you don't have passion, you don't have energy, effort, enthusiasm, then I don't think you can be successful. All right. The tattoos, yes. Coach Zack is known for his tattoos. I got the Dynasty tattoo also. That's pretty dope. But the tattoos on my leg kind of get the most, I guess, talked about. So I guess you can call it a goat leg, which is not completed yet. I got one more face to add. But so we have Michael Jordan, because obviously, unquestionable, undeniable, the greatest player ever to do it. Inspired me to play basketball, inspired my work ethic, all that stuff like that. And I just love the way it was. He's win or nothing. So that's why we got MJ on there, because he's just the GOAT, man. It's just his competitiveness. I loved it. Then we have Kobe on the back. Let's see if I can turn around. We got Kobe on the back. Similar reason with Jordan. To me, Jordan is number 1. To me, Kobe's number 2. Say what you want, but he has a winning record in the finals. And Kobe, much like Jordan, it was get on my level or don't get in my gym. So I loved his attitude that he took. I love how diligent he was in the gym, his competitiveness, his hunger, his desire, his want to always be the best. So Jordan and Kobe, honestly, similar. Why they're on my leg. This one, people kind of question, like, well, we get the 2 basketball guys, and they look at this one, and it's Jay-Z. Jay-Z is the reason why we are called the Dynasty. Please don't sue me, Jay-Z. It is the reason why we're called the Dynasty. That's what he calls like his little group. That's what he always refers to him, like it's the Dynasty. I love Jay-Z. Jay-Z was someone I listened to growing up all the time, rapping and stuff like that. And I feel like I've been able to grow up with him even as an adult. Even now, some of his lyrics still pertain to me and how he's ever evolving from the guy that was on the street corner just trying to, bring some food home for the family, to now he's, a multi-billionaire, and he's, shaking hands with presidents, and he's buying all these companies, he's flipping companies, and he's like the first rapper to become a billionaire, and he's all this stuff like this as a businessman. It's somebody that I aspire to be, and I think he's a good inspiration for a lot of people coming where we come from, where you don't have all the tools to be successful. So Jay-Z, honestly, obviously the basketball with Jordan and Kobe and the competitiveness and all that, good stuff like that and the will to win. But Jay-Z is honestly one of my biggest people that I've always looked up to, probably more so than Jordan and Kobe, just because look where this man is at, and I would love to be where he's at one day. And it's not just, being the billionaire part and all that stuff. It's also how he's impacting the culture of America still today. And where he came from. It's really crazy. So like right now I'm reading Jay-Z's book, Made in America, and it's just talking how he transcended from literally the street corner to where he's at now. And he's very inspirational to me, man. And I love that dude. Hopefully one day I'll get to meet him. So I obviously had to throw him on my leg. He's a GOAT. We will be getting one more. It'll probably right here, probably Walt Disney. If you know me, you know I love Disney. Walt Disney's another person that's an icon, and he's embedded in this culture, and you know who Disney is. All these people are embedded in culture forever. They're never gonna die. Kobe Bryant is never dead. These guys are never gonna die. They're always gonna be there. So they're, to me, GOATs. So Walt Disney will be next right here. I'm sure my daughter will love that one. But yeah, so that's what this leg is for, man. It's all the people that have inspired me to be kind of who I am, and I've picked little stuff from each one of them to try to mold myself, even though I'm not perfect and I'm still my own man. I just love what these guys have done and how their impact on the world is still today. Love of basketball, man. I love this sport to death. The love came from Michael Jordan, man. Watching Michael Jordan do what he does, man. It was crazy. But at the time, I still played all of these other sports. I think the true love came from whenever my parents separated or whatever. I didn't have anything, and all I had was a basketball. So just had to play basketball, and it was like the only thing I had, and I just played with the basketball all day. Played with the basketball, and it was kind of like my little sanctuary. So it was like just like a love that it took me away from the world. It took me away from, the problems at home or what have you and stuff like that. So the love came from just the piece of it, being in control. I felt like if I worked hard enough at it, I could control it. I could control my actions. And even to this day, when I get stressed out, whether coaching a game or some business stuff or emails or what have you, I go to the gym and I go put up shots, because it's like, it takes me away from the problems of the world. So the love came from, Michael Jordan, watching him do what he does, but a lot of it was because it keeps me a kid and it takes away stress. It was never, I always like to tell some of my kids, like, you can't be your best if you're putting pressure on yourself to play this game. This is a game. Go have fun and play, man. So, like, when I'm stressed out the most, I'm going to a court. I'm having fun hooping. The energy. Well, my mom, for one, is like, makes my energy look like low. So my mom's energy is crazy. So I get a lot of energy because my mom raised me. So, growing up with someone that's like wakes up every morning at 4 in the morning, drives to Dallas, works a job from 7 to 5, then drives back home, then cooks, cleans, and makes sure that we're good, and still goes to our events, and then goes to bed at 12 to make sure that we're all good, and does it again for about 30 plus years. Like, you ain't got no excuse to have some energy. And even to this day, it's funny watching her run around with my 3-year-old daughter, and my 3-year-old daughter will knock out before my mom does. So that energy that I have is coming from my mom, man, seeing her. But a lot of it, man, is these kids are fun, man. Like, I wish these parents would pay me just to hang out with their kids, because these kids are hilarious and they keep me young and they keep me having fun. I love it. A big thing is that kids get nicknames when you play for Dynasty, and it's like kids will come up to me after the first practice like, "Coach, what's my nickname?" I'm like, "Bro, I don't even know your real name right now. Let me figure that out." It's just, man, I love kids, man, and I think kids need to have someone positive to look up to. I think they need to have something to look forward to, and they need to be kids as long as they can be kids. So if it means me giving them a nickname to smile and have fun, then we're gonna do it, because at the end of the day, man, this is such a fun game, and it's a fun job that I have, and these kids give me energy, man. They've changed my view on the sport. They've changed how I, am as a man. They changed how I am as a father now. These kids have, as much as parents tell me, "Thank you, Coach, you mean the world to my son," all this stuff like that, thank you. I really thank these parents for letting me coach their kids, because it's the kids that kind of keep me going, keep me having fun, and I just love them, man. They're hilarious. All the energy that they bring, I'll give it right back to them. So, yeah, that energy comes from my mom, but a lot of it is the kids, man. I love seeing them big old smiles when they come in to see Coach Zack, and it was hard in the first months of COVID when I couldn't high five a kid or something like that. So afterwards, I was like, man, just come give me a hug, man, because I just love these kids, man. They're great. All right, so how the 17s got to where they're kind of at. So when I had them, I had this team really since they were 14U. I remember one of our first travel tournaments was we went to California. It was Heart of the Cure, I don't know, something like that, and we won it. We went like 4-0 or whatever. So I've had these guys since they were 14U. 15U, we had another really solid year. We actually went to Las Vegas. No, we went to Orlando. We beat a few gauntlet teams. This one they're 15U, and 2 EYBL teams. Ended up losing to a tough team from Chicago, like literally at the buzzer. Like they literally hit free throws at the buzzer to win it. Then we went to Vegas 2 days afterwards, and we made it all the way to like the game before Imoni Bates. We lost at a half-court shot at the buzzer. But we didn't even have a lot of our players because the injury bug hit us. So that was kind of the end of the 15U season. Going into the 16U, kind of like I was talking to Craig about. Craig, at the end of our 16U season, was like, "Man, I didn't think all this was going to happen." And I'm like, "Oh, I knew it was." Because I've been with these guys. I've seen them dominate since 14U. I saw them do what they did at 15U when nobody knew who we were. At 15U, even though we were doing some things, every now and then we got a tweet or congratulations or something like that, but nobody really knew who we were. So I remember going into the 15U meeting or 16U meeting pre-COVID and, telling these parents, like, our goal is to be #1 at the end of this season. I knew the team that we had, and I knew we could be #1. COVID came around, kind of halted our plans a little bit, but we still got to play some basketball. Coming back, I had my guys, still had them all intact, ready to go, and we did just that, man. Like, it was literally the team that I expected came to play, and we knocked off some top teams, and I guess you could say we probably ended the season #1 or 2 in the state for 16U. But it's all stuff that I was more shocked with how the followers and stuff came after that, how my name rose after that, because I didn't think it was going to rise like that, than anything. As far as the competing and winning games, we've been doing that since 14U. Y'all just caught on too late, so it was nothing to me. All right, 17U season. Okay, so have everybody returning, plus I think we added like a new face or 2. Expectations to be #1, like they always are for every team even. But for us, it's, to be #1, we can do it. Adversity hit. Things got shuffled up. Roster changed. Literally, I think the first 3 weekends of the season, our roster changed. Whether kids weren't there or kids, went to another program or kids were sick or kids were hurt. First 3 weekends of the season, man, we didn't have anybody there, and we still were winning. And then even going to back our last Gasso, I think we only had like 6 people. We had a player get hurt in the Gasso. still win. Now where we're at is, we've picked up some new players, some really good pieces. I think we're a complete team now. We're still highly competitive. We're still winning games, which to me says a lot about our boys, about how our boys really take on the next man up, or how they play hard for me every weekend when the odds are stacked against us. So it really speaks more on them than anything, on their character. And sometimes people see me loud and stuff on Twitter, but it's just because I'm fighting for my boys, because they fight for me on the court. So, man, we've had my expectation was to be number one. My expectation is to still be number one, but the road was a little bit different. We took some detours. It was a bumpy road, but we're still winning. We're still climbing them rankings. We're still causing teams chaos, and the plan is to keep doing that. I think we got a good group of guys together now. This summer is going to be really fun. We have the circuit coming up. Then we have a Memorial Day one. We got Urban DFW's tournament. And there's another circuit with the independent teams. Then we're going to go to Orlando and Vegas. Then we got one more, the King of the South. So we got a really stacked schedule laying ahead for us. But I got a bunch of guys that have gone through adversity, and I just got some dogs. I got some dogs with no papers, straight out the pound, and I love them.